I'm sitting, relaxing and sharing. First of all, I'm sitting here relaxing, having some ginger. Had some watermelon in my water, but I ate all the watermelon. How have you guys been? I'm still glowing from my time in Jamaica. My tan, as you all close that up. My tan, as you all can see, I'm a little shiny, but it's all good. How are you all doing? Say hello and definitely watch my videos because I really do appreciate your support. But I want to say surprise happenings, right? Things are happening that's good. I think I have some ginger. How do I get rid of the ginger? It's fresh ginger, guys. Fresh ginger. This is live. For some of you, it is a recording. But I'm going to try and get rid of this ginger. I need to get rid of ginger. I think I did. I think I did. But wanted to stop in and say thank you all for being here on YouTube with me. Hey, 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 thank you for the thumb up. For those of you just coming in, I am excited about what's been happening here on YouTube. And thankful and grateful. How are you all doing? Drop me a comment below. Let me know how you're doing. Are you like me, just relaxing, chilling? It is hot today. It was really, and I still had some hot tea. It's the Jamaican in me. Don't care if it's 110 degrees outside. We are going to have hot tea or hot soup or anything that's hot because I needed it. My voice needed it. I was in Jamaica, so if you've missed any of those videos, many of them are on the lives. You can go over there. Some are short, to the point. The beautiful beaches. I was in Portland and also in Negril, Jamaica. It was beautiful. Do enjoy the relaxing sounds. A lot of that I was able to do. But yeah, I'm excited about what's happening. Some of you have on your monetization journey, and yours truly. And so I appreciate everything that you've done. Thank you for watching the videos and much more to come. So, surprisingly, yes, we got monetization, like I mentioned before, and I'm excited. I'm excited for those of you who are on your journey and those of you who have made it. You made it. You made it. Yes, you made it. And I am excited. I am excited for people who pop into my videos. Those who are giving me the thumb up, tapping the screen. They're wondering what's going on. Who is this lady sitting on her porch with this thing on her head? What is going on? That's the beauty of YouTube. Because guess what? You get all types of people who are coming in and they're wondering, like, what's happening? Like, who is she? Why is she doing that? Because I got my new earrings. Actually, I've had these earrings for years. As long as they don't fall off, they've been good. But I'm excited about what's happening on YouTube. And I tell a lot of people also be very careful with YouTube because some of you are doing things that you shouldn't be doing on YouTube. I Cherish Church, hi, how are you? Great to see you. Lily, hey, 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 thank you for being here. And I know, I give a lot of information over here, great stuff. It's not just about YouTube, it's about life, it's about business, how you can elevate and how you can expand. And I'm grateful for the time that I've had on YouTube because I wanted to conquer the beast. I wanted to fully understand it and decided to put a lot of the other platforms on hold because I really wanted to understand YouTube. And I'm glad for YouTube. I'm also glad for the community. I'm also glad for those of you who chose to become members of my community because they know I'm always giving the good stuff about business. And I said, for people in my community, that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to drop the tidbits. And I always wanted a place and space to do that. So the membership, oh, look at that. The link just came up. But yeah, I always said I wanted to do that. Support the people who may want a little information. I can do something real quick for them and they're able to move on. Because in this season, it's about winning. Lately I've been reaching out and God just downloaded my spirit and I created something for people who almost had not soul snatch. I don't even want to go that deep, but the vision that they've had, right? The vision that they've had for their lives, it was snatched from because they were sold a pipe dream. They were sold all this what do you call it, this bright shiny stuff, and oh, you can do this, you can do that. And then the rude awakening came and they found out it was never about them. And so I've bumped into people who have experienced that. They've experienced this bit in business. They've experienced where they were told all this shiny stuff. But when it came down to it, it was never about them. It was never about them winning. It was never about their elevation. Because sometimes people put trust. I'm not saying you can't trust people, but first you got to trust the power that's within you. God has given each and every one of us gifts and talents, right? And sometimes you need somebody to help you to usher that in, to stand and support you with that. And there are people who will tell you, oh yeah, you can do this, you can do that, go on. But they never really cared about you because it was never about you. It was about them. And why I can speak on that, I've had conversations with people who were hurt by this. And I'm going to tell you, even though you're in some of these high end, and I've sat in many of them, and worked and have colleagues and people that I consider acquaintances, in some of these spaces, it's never about you. It's always about the numbers. How much can you get this and that, and how do this? How can you make this a month? I'm not saying everybody does it, but there are those who do it. And when you're in spaces like that, you don't fit in. You may not fit in because you're not, no, I'm not about, getting what I can from. No, that's not what it's about. When you want to show up in integrity, when you want other people to truly win, yes, sometimes you could go overboard by just trying to help these folks. But the thing I'm saying is this, even when you're supporting other people, be very clear. You cannot want something more than people want themselves. Let me say that again. You cannot want something more for people than they want for themselves. So I'm not going to say mastermind groups don't work. I'm going to say coaching groups don't work. But you're going to have to use your spirit of discernment. And sometimes you stay in places and spaces that you've been there too long, right? And it's toxic. And they can also see that you're not willing to do certain things to get to the next level. And we see things happening. And I say to people to guard their hearts, right? Guard their hearts. Guard your heart, because sometimes these dream stealers can snatch it because you're choosing not to show up. It's not that you're slow. It's not that you can't get it, right? It's not that you can't get those things. I am going to say this. You've got to guard your heart. Guard what God has given you and learn to use it, because in the moment that you said, I want to use what I have for good, right? It doesn't mean that you're going to lose. It doesn't mean that you can't get to the next level like someone else. It doesn't mean any of that. You're just sticking to your as people would say, to your guns, right? But I don't want to say that. You're really sticking to what your beliefs are and the integrity of it. But you also got to learn how to be courageous, yes, and how to set healthy boundaries around the things that you do and what it is you're called to do. So I just wanted to say that. I wanted to come in fierce with that for you to know that you can celebrate who you are and the gifting. I have a little light on. Let me see if I turn off what this will look like. Will it be too dark? Because I don't want to get hot too soon, right? Because I'm still, from my tan, I am still glowing. Guys, I am still glowing from the sun. Sometimes you need to pull back. And for me, it's always the big part of things is when I'm giving back. If I'm going to give, right, I want to give it from a place where, from my heart, right? I'm giving from a place and a space where it doesn't feel forced, right? And when you're serving and when you're giving, or when you're a part of anything, it doesn't need to feel forced. One needs to feel relaxed about it and be able to release, because when you release, there's room for more. There's room for things to come back to you. And so life in itself, we're going to have the ups, we're going to have the downs, we're going to have the difficult situations. I said, life is like, the song talk about when they say life is like a dream and you're going down the stream and all of that. But for me, I found out that it has deeper meaning, that you are going to be going through life. And even if you look at life as the river and the stream, and a tree were to fall into that river, the water is going to find ways over it, around it, underneath, soak into that wood, the log or whatever it is, you're going to find that that is going to happen. And you're just going to have to understand that's part of it. When I talk about using the spirit of discernment, when I talk about using that in such a way that it's like, you know what? Things are going to happen, but I'm going to choose to show up for me, right? Things will happen, but I'm going to choose up to show up for me because life does happen. So, if any little tidbit I can say, it is a season. It is a season right now that, listen, everything that's happening right now was probably from actions that you took, didn't take. And sometimes too, you could be like, you know what? I'm gonna wing it. I'm just gonna wing it, and let's see what happens when I wing this. And then it may not always work out the way that it's supposed to, because maybe there wasn't enough thought that was placed in it, right? A lot of thoughts was not placed into it, or thought, I should say. So I want you to give yourself, just extend grace, extend the grace that will carry you through in difficult times. When things starts to happen, when things may not go the way that you would want it to go, you're going to be able to say, let me just breathe through this. Sometimes it requires that. There are going to be moments that it'll take you days. It's going to take you weeks, sometimes a couple of months to bounce back. But it's not about just the bouncing back. It's in we would say the restoration, right? Rejuvenation. It's in the rejuvenation. It's giving yourself time to heal. Time to heal from past traumas, whether it's in business or whether it's in business or life. You're going to give yourself time for that. And once you're able to do that, you're going to find yourself coming back in such a way that, you know what? There was a reason why I went through what I did. There was a blessing in the lesson. There are lessons being taught every day, every day. In the midst of right now, there are lessons that are being taught and that we need to listen to. Sometimes we got to listen to the power that's within us, the power of God. Yes, that's what I'm talking about when I say the power that's within us. There's a reason why we are wired the way that we are, and we can get closer through prayer, right? We can get closer through prayer. And so the surprising thing about it is because in this season, you're choosing and I'm choosing to show up boldly. In season, I am choosing to show up in brilliant ways because I know there's better for me. I know that the things that I went through was for a reason. You know, the things that you went through was for a particular reason. And now it's time for your expansion. It is time for your elevation. And to some people, this may not be the second thing or the thing that you want to hear. You may want to hear something else. But I'm going to tell you, it is time for your elevation. It is your season. Yes, it is. It is your season. And how do you know it's your season? Lucy, hey, Lucy. How do you know it's your season? Because you are claiming it. I'm claiming this my season. I'm claiming it that, baby, there were lessons learned. There were lessons to be learned in this season. And I am decided to elevate. And I'm decided to get ready for my expansion because you got to claim it. You got to claim your expansion. You got to claim your elevation. I am saying it may not be the thing that folks want to hear, but I'm going to tell you that because there's more to life than the monetization here. And oh, look at that. Look who's got monetized, right? There's more to life than that. There's so many other good gems. There's so many other things to it. I just recently returned from the medical mission where I volunteer. And, someone asked me, well, I would love to come. How do you do that? I said, well, we pay our own way. Hell, everything else, they provide you with meals, but you are working. You're getting up like 5 a.m. in the morning. I don't even work that hard here. I don't work that hard. 5 consecutive days, and you may do 10 hours, 8 to 10 hours. 10 hours a day, and you're seeing a lot of people and you're exhausted. These are consecutive days. But why do it? There's something beautiful about just giving from a space where there's no resentment. Everybody doesn't have to know, but you know that this is the thing that I'm called to do. There's a quote that states, right? Service is the price you for being on this planet. And it's beautiful to go to places, spaces where people may not necessarily know you personally, may not necessarily want anything from you. They just know that you're showing up. Nurses and doctors and a few people are showing up and are providing care. But also in the term, I am learning from them. I'm learning to be patient. I'm learning not to just do, because I showed up. And when you get tired, all right, next, whose blood pressure I'm here to take. Next, who am I here to ask questions? And then somebody will just show up and say, hello, how are you? And I'm like, okay. Like, how are you doing today? And because of that, people want to know that you're connecting with them. They want to know that you're seeing them. They want to know that you're hearing them. They're just not a number. And that's why I love doing these missions, because it always happens that I bump into someone when it can be like business as usual. When I show up as business as usual, there's always somebody there to remind me, like, take a breather. Hi, how are you? Good to see you. Thanks for being here. Barry, walk and exercise. Hey, for your health. Good to see you. Just got back from Jamaica. I am glowing. I am so glowing. Thank you for the thumbs up, as always. You know, I'm glowing from my medical mission trip in Jamaica. And I'm talking about just going there, doing for people, when in fact, there are people who are, when I'm just in the going mode, that will just stop and say, hello, how are you? Yes, thank you so much for the thumbs up. Appreciate it. And so I can't afford to take anything for granted. I'm not going to take anything for granted, because it was beautiful to be in that space. I was in a parish, a couple parishes. I've never been to Portland, nor have I ever been, maybe St. Mary's, I don't know. A little bit out of St. Anne, maybe just driving. But to really be in places and spaces that's so beautiful. Portland, Jamaica is almost like it's untouched. It is just gorgeous. And the people are laid back. And it's beautiful and it is bountiful. There were fruits. There were things everywhere. And I'm going to just tell you that I ate a mango. I was under the tree. I took my lunch under a tree. Mangoes were falling, and I got me a bag and picked up the bag and a bottle of water, poured in one of those snap, the snatch bags, the plastic ones, and I put the mangoes in there with the water. And I washed my mangoes, and I was eating my mangoes. I had like 4 of them. I ate all 4. Then I wanted more mangoes, so the seed from the mangoes, I started throwing them in the tree, because I knew there was a whole lot of other mangoes just waiting to fall. And guess what? They started to fall, and then I packed the bags and brought some in for my colleagues. But I'm telling you, when you're in a place, in a space of giving, a space where there's, you can never outgive. Think of yourself. You can never, like, listen, right now, there's a lot of air around us, right? There's air where we can breathe. There's an abundance of air. There's no scarcity. There's no lack. Unless you have some difficulty breathing, do you really notice that I need air? But when you're in places and spaces that you're given, and you're allowing that abundance, just to take you over, you're more able to see more things. I didn't have to go purchase any mangoes, because here I was just given an abundance. We're given of ourselves, and there were people who were given to us by saying hello, by talking to us, by being receptive. And then on my break, I was able to go outside. Guys, I'm talking about being in Jamaica and being in a space of abundance. In other words, I opened up even more to be aware of the abundance around me. There's no scarcity. There's no lack. And even here on YouTube, I'm going to say that there's no scarcity and there's no lack at all. Because even if somebody doesn't support you now, they're going to be able to support you later, right? They may not be able to support you at this time, but trust me, they're going to be able to support you later in different ways. So there's no need to get upset. There's no need to focus on scarcity. There's no need to focus on lack. There's just right now to focus on abundance. And if you can, you'll feel it within you. The abundance of air is around us. Like, unless, like earlier this week, I had a little cough, little congestion, and man, and a little wheezing with it because I got caught in the rain. I'm still a little bit up. And that's the only time I would think about, oh, I'm having a little difficulty breathing, right? Because it does happen. It happens. But when you're in a space and you allow abundance, if you allow abundance, gratitude, joy, and all the good things, if you allow those things in your life, you are going to feel and you're going to see things a little bit different. You're not even going to think about it. Because here I was in Jamaica. Like I said, some of you guys can look on the live section where I was able to do some videos just walking on the beach. That was my exercise for the morning. I was in a place, in a space, my mindset was about just getting up and walking on the beach. Nothing to think about. You know, I didn't even have to wear my sandals, my shoes, because I was on 7 miles of white sand. And next to me was the ocean. You know, it was just like, what? The water was so clear. I could see the fish. They were going here, they were going there. And those are some of the things. Hey, Nancy, how are you? Thanks for checking in. And so there's abundance of all those good things. And what is showing me that we really need to be connected to who we are, be connected to what we're doing, and be connected to nature. Because for me, I was just in a state of abundance. Being in a space of abundance where there was no scarcity, there was no lack. I was not being scarce around my time. I was not being scarce around what I did for people. And so what we learned from that, duh, Sharon, that when you're in that space of abundance, abundance shows up everywhere. You start to see it. You're like, look at this beautiful ocean. There's an abundant water, right? And you look at the trees and all these fruits. There's an abundance of fruits. Oh my goodness, everywhere. And so there were people saying hello. So there was an abundance of me just saying hi to people, and your whole body, right? So your whole body starts to respond. Your whole being starts to respond to abundance because that's the mode that you're in. And so each and every day when you pray and I say, God, I thank you for loaning me the breath of life one more time. That's a loan. Because listen, when I lay down and I go to sleep, I don't know what's happening. I know I'm dreaming. Sometimes I'm all over the place. I'm exhausted. Like I've been running somewhere. And then I don't even remember what it was. I'm like, oh, I remember it. I'm going to write it down, right? But I'm going to tell you this, that when you're in that space of abundance, it shows up. When you're in that space of gratitude, it shows up in everything that you do. In everything that you do. You'll even find that you will find yourself being more given. You just want to bless somebody, you know. And being in Jamaica, that reminded me of the simple things. The simple things. I could have a whole basket of fruits here, and to buy one here, one mango is probably maybe $2 something. And there was an abundance. They were falling off the tree, right? It was just all over. It was just, you were in that space. And then after a couple of days, it was just like, it's regular. It's just like, yeah. Mitchie Boo, hey Mitchie Boo, what's up, girl? I'm back from Jamaica. You see me still glowing? If I turn on this light, I get so shiny. Let me see. Whoa, see how shiny I am? The sun is still in my skin. So, you know, I was talking about being in a space of abundance that a couple of days, it became regular to me. It was just like, this is what I'm doing. Hey, I'm tipping, I'm doing this, I'm doing that, because it's the abundance, the gratitude goes hand in hand. There was no space for scarcity. There was no space for lack. But I also had to remember to take care of me. Sometimes we're giving out. And I had to make certain I was taking care of me. I had to make sure that I was hydrated because it got to a point that I was dehydrated, right? For some of you who were like, girl, you look tired. You need to be hydrated. So you get into that stage where you just feel it's like a euphoria, like, oh my gosh, I'm in here. I don't have to think about anything other than just being happy to wake up in the morning and go out, do my walk, and enjoy. I even did some laps in the ocean. You know, they do have those things. What do you call them? Those stingrays. And I was a little bit concerned about them, but I didn't see them. But at that particular beach, that was the first place I've ever seen stingrays. But I was speaking to one of the guys on the glass bottom boats, and he said, I said, you know, this is the first place where I've ever seen a stingray. And he said, oh, if you ever see them, just go by you. He said, they're probably under the sand and you didn't notice them. And I'm like, what? Right? But yeah, I was able to go swimming. I did some laps, and I felt like I really needed that time. You know, I needed the time. And so those of us who are the giver, we've got to remember to refuel in every which way. I still got my water here. I have the water. Oh yeah, I did put some coconut water in my ginger and watermelon. I ate all the watermelon, but I had a great time. I've never been to Portland, Jamaica, and I did. And it was absolutely beautiful. I have some videos. It's going to take me a while to get off those. And so I'll have bits and pieces here and there. But it just reminded me of everything that we need is here, and it has been created for us. When we're in the hustle and bustle, we sometimes forget that. We forget we're in the hustle and bustle. And so even they themselves may see all that beauty, and it's just, it's just another thing. Like, hey, I work by the beach, like the people who were serving for breakfast. And I'm like, look at this, this is where you work every day. And he's like, yeah. And they appreciate it. You may think that folks don't appreciate all of that. They do. It's just that we don't see it all the time. And so it reminded me, this is where we need to recalibrate. We need to recalibrate. Even if it's not in the Caribbean, we can somewhere where we live find time to just pull back and enjoy. I'm just sitting here, the air is starting to come in. I'm getting a little stuffed up, and when I get stuffed up, I can't really talk. But I'm just sitting here, and I said, I don't have to go anywhere. I can choose to, but I'm choosing right now. I want to get in the mode, and I wanted to remember it. And so I created something because I was in the mood of abundance and to being a giver. I there's so many things that many of us do and we don't speak about it because I don't like to talk about, what I do and what I give. But I like to watch how other people show up. And here we were at a clinic, and one of the ladies that I thought was one of the other ladies, something that we did for lunch for them. And it so happened, the one that was working the hardest, I just assumed because they all had on the same color, was one of the ladies that we did give lunch to because they all had on the same color. So I said, did you enjoy lunch? And I was looking at her, and she's looked at me and she said, oh, that wasn't me. I said, you were one of the two ladies there? She was like, no. She said, I was up front. I was working and we moved a lot of people. I think we saw about a little bit over 100. She said about 80 something of them. And it so happened she was one of the ladies that did not get the lunch. And I thought about it. But the way that, what was even more beautiful to me, she said, oh, that's what happens sometimes. She wasn't upset. She didn't say anything. She was still there working. She was still there. And she said, and I said, oh, how come you're still here? Oh, I'm the one that stayed to lock things up. So she was the one who worked the whole time, wasn't the one that got the lunch, and she was the one designated, because there were a few of them, and she was the one designated to close up the space where we were working that day. And I thought about it. It was a clinic, and I was like, wow. And it remind me where it says, do not be weary of well doing. You'll be richly rewarded. Something like that. I might have messed it up, but those of you who know it can correct it. And I thought of it and I said, you know what? Here I'm in a space of abundance. And the way that her attitude towards all of this was like, you know what? Yeah, what's happened? And I felt becoming the space of abundance. And it was just so beautiful to go talk to her, do one of my little things her, and then do something like what my grandma, you know, when you go visit your grandma, they always got something to give you. And put a little something, something in her pocket, you know, US, you know, put a little something, something. So she felt when I did it, and I was like, do not be weary of well doing. I know you had to stay late, and I want you to know I see you and I appreciate you. Put that little something, something, because I wanted to share it with you, you know, in her pocket, because in the dress. Then later on, we were outside, and there were some videos. Again, we were eating mangoes. I ate so much mangoes. Like next day, my stomach was like, okay, you ate too much. And we were next to the soursop tree, and she said, "What's your name again?" I said, "Nurse Sharon." And she said, I guess she looked what I slipped there, and she said, "Thank you," because she didn't expect it. She did not expect it. But I've just felt so blessed that, and even if she had had an attitude or something, I just knew there was something to do. But I was in a space of total abundance, and it's not something that I don't do. It's something that I do, and many of you, you know, that's who we are. Sometimes it's your time, sometimes it's your energy, sometimes it's your resources, right? But I just wanted to say thank you. Might not have been able to have had lunch today, but what I gave her could have a couple days lunch. You get what I'm saying? And so I thought nothing of it. And I just say that what I say, Michibu, that encouragement strengtheneth labor. Encouragement strengtheneth labor. But it's also people want to be seen. And so I was just grateful that, wow, she stayed after hours, and learning that a lot of them after hours, they're not paid for it. They're not paid for it. Sometimes you can do a small thing that can change somebody's life. Like right now, Michibu, I'm getting back into my juicing because I love my numbers. My doctor said, "What are you doing?" I said, "I'm sweating, I'm juicing, I'm doing things." And she was like, "Continue doing that." Numbers were just falling like, she said, she just looked at me and said, she said, "Continue sweating." Right? And I thank you. I thank Chibu for that. I thank Nancy the day who saw me. And when I read it because of the internet later, had I seen it, I probably would have perked up even more to that I was dehydrated. And those things I don't granted. So in other words, it's the law of reciprocity at work. What you do come back to you. And you will hear people say, well, the older I get, absolutely, because you don't want that stuff coming back to you. So I just pray, right? And we look at it like, I want to continue doing good. Yeah, because now in this season, baby, I want all the goodness. I want all the goodness, right, Lucy? I want all the goodness to come back. Yes, Nancy saw that. And because of the internet was so bad, the only time, Nancy, I keep talking about it. And I told you all the truth that morning that your girl almost passed out the next day. Because sometimes, like I said, so you feel you get that high, like, oh, I'm just in this space, all this beauty, and I'm helping, helping, helping. And I know I felt it, and I sat down, and my systolic blood pressure was 105. And I knew it was in these, because whenever it's like 92 or 94, I can feel it in my body. And I'm like, oh, maybe I'm tired, but I knew it. And that's the thing, when you are in that space too, so abundance can be overwhelming. Abundance can, listen, am I making sense with this? Abundance can be overwhelming. And so you gotta have to have, yes, checks and balance. And I'm around a bunch of nurses, a bunch of doctors, and a bunch of us, and we're just going, going, going. And like I'm saying, no, next time we usually have the advocate for us. This time it wasn't on the trip. the person who makes sure you have your water, the person who makes sure all of that stuff. And I don't know if I told you guys the part after later on, around lunch, I didn't eat that much either. I was just trying to, as we say, push fluids, just trying to fluids. I kept saying, I just feel like I need an IV, like IV hydration. And I went into one of the rooms, I lay down and elevate my legs a little bit, and I think I probably went out because someone came back and said, hey, the other room has air conditioning, lay in there. And I remember looking at her like, okay. So you can be in a space where all this abundance, all these things, you got to remember when to stop. You can I look like I'm in Jamaica, right? In a way I am, Michibu, but no, because everything in here looks like a little cook shop, right? I designed right this space. It looks like a little cook shop if you ever see it. Has Bob Marley rose and stuff like that on the other side. Yeah. But Jamaica was absolutely amazing. Portland, I think I want to go there for about a couple of weeks. So something that we're looking to do to split and between the grill and Portland, because Portland is untouched. And I needed to be reminded that all that we need is already here for us. Everything that we need. We also need each other. We need, yeah, the nice little cook shop, not true. I'm a little table. Hear me little table now? My little table, my little cook shop. I wanted it like that, the coloring and like a basket chair and stuff. So we also need each other. We need each other. And I'll say this to people, yeah, Portland is absolutely beautiful. It's just ridiculously beautiful because it rains. I say bountiful and blessed. And I used to say that about St. Vincent and the Grenadines because we did a mission many years ago. And when we would go walking early in the mornings, and when you're coming back, you just hear boop, boop, boop. The fruits are just falling off the trees after a certain time. And I said, St. Vincent and the Grenadines, beautiful, bountiful, and blessed. That was a place where, a long story, I meant to tell that some other time, where I got my mojo back. I said, because sometimes too, when you're given, you give, and you don't really know if people even like you for you. And sometimes it's a rude awakening when you find out only what they can get. There's very little gratitude in it. And sometimes too, we're human, things happen, we're in different phases and spaces of our lives. So maybe I could have been in a space of that too, not understanding and really stopping, as they say, to smell the roses. So that happens sometimes in life. And so we are humans, we err, we made mistakes, and things happen. So I'm not going to say that I'm perfect, but it's also come to the different seasons. And back to saying that we need each other. Needing each other is so important. And I came to this realization that there are good people in the world. They're good pilots, they're good flight attendants, they're good nurses, they're good doctors, they're good people who take care of places and spaces where we're in. And I'm not just calling out professions, I'm just saying there are good people. And because of that, let me tell you guys, I don't allow politics. I don't talk it. I don't let it get between me and the people that I care about because we're good people. There's some things too that we may be a little bit different on, or there's some things too we can, say, oh, a little bit of this, a little bit of that, and if we were able to meet in the middle and so forth. But I don't let that get between me and people. And if we can get to that space where we don't allow what somebody thinks or how they choose to express themselves get between us, the world would be so much better if we say, okay, we have our differences, but I'm not going to let it get through to us, because all of us have to come back to the place and the space of our humanity. So you see what this does? When you are in the abundance, when you're in the vein of abundance and gratitude, I'm just like, you know what? I'm not letting any of that come between me and my colleagues. Yes, we can't let that stuff divide us. It is so true, because let me tell you, even when I think of it, And I remember when my first grandson was born and he was in the NICU, right? The neonatal. I was so thankful and grateful for those nurses, those doctors, the techs, people who cleaned the place, from every technician, everything that was done. I was so grateful for them, right? And they're from Nashville, Tennessee. They're down there in Nashville. I don't care about anybody's politics. I don't care about it. I just know they're good, smart people, ethical people who did what they needed to do. And today my grandson is here. So if we allow stuff that we think, I'm not just saying that on Nashville or anywhere, I'm saying people are people wherever. I'm not going to let that get into my way of, oh, so we have a little differences here. And so that one of the things during this phase, this season, because leading up to every August, I get a new revelation. It's a new revelation. I'm not allowing any of that. I never did. I guess you guys figure it by now. I never did. I never will. I don't want to. And I just want to get that out there. So surprisingly, we all may have to make decisions around how we're looking to show up. And I'll say this also, that whatever is happening in the world, this light is getting a little bit hot. Or maybe not. Maybe it's just me. Let me see. It's dark, right? Look what I have, guys. I have this just in case. Because I think the sun, why would I want the sun not to shine through? Let the sun shine, the sun shine. Yeah, let it sunshine, let it shine. Yeah, so that's one of the things I'm going to say. And whatever we want this world to be, prayer is going to shift and move it. Prayer. Collectively, one thing that we can pray. And so collectively, let's do that. Collectively, the good things that we want in our world. Let's pray on that. There's so many things that by myself I can't do, but collectively that can be done. And that's the revelation that I'm getting, the reminder to get back to the space where I'm going to use this, to get back to the place and the space where we can let the love and the light, and we say love and the light, to shine in. And it sounds so cliche, like, oh my God, the 5Gs. 5Gs. And hey, how are you? I just got back from Jamaica. Tan. Look at my tan. I'm over here sweating up a storm. But that's a decision that I made. And so that's why I'm saying, and the reason why I'm not picking on Nashville or anywhere, I'm just saying that I'm just talking about people, that there are good people out there who are doing amazing things, who are saving lives, who are contributing to making our lives comfortable, and the work that we're doing. We should not let any of that come against us because and pull us apart. I don't want that. I'm not going to allow it. Because when you are in the vein of abundance and gratitude, being there in Jamaica, I learned this many years ago. Sometimes you think you're going into these countries and you're safe, but in fact, that's why I say the my visit to St. Vincent and the Grenadines was where I got my mojo back. Meant that my passion for doing some of the things that I love, because after a while you get burned out. Yes, the mission, we were on a medical mission and we worked 5 consecutive days. They were 10-hour days. And by the fifth day, I was really, I will say severely, I was really dehydrated. Because I even made Charlie horse, meaning, in the leg, that's when the muscles are dehydrated. And it happened. So I had to take like another 2 days to just rest and elevate my leg. When I came back, they were still, my right ankle was still swollen. And then I think the night after is, with paresis, I just started, the water started flushing out of my system. Because sometimes too in the heat, you hold on to that. And coming back. So yeah, we're talking about abundance. We're talking about gratitude, that when you're in that space, that the abundance itself can be overwhelming. And that's why gratitude is so important. Gratitude makes space for more, but you also need people to hold that space for you, whether it's who prays for you. And I get that a lot when people call and they said, because I know you're a woman of faith. And it's a blessing to be able, when somebody said, just pray for me, I mean, like serious things. And I've seen the miracles, right, that has happened in my life and in the lives of others. But we spoke about it, the beauty of surrender, just surrendering some of those things, right? The surrendering and allowing all of this to come into our lives. I like this new season, this new space where the elevation is coming, the expansion is coming, and not just only for ourselves, but for this world. We are in a season right now when we say we want something, but then some people said, that's not I didn't want it that way. I just want a little bit of this way. And that's how our lives are. You can't please everybody. You're not going to be able to please everyone. Some of this stuff may be smokescreen, right? But then let's get to the heart of the matter, okay? Because things are going to happen. And I want to just encourage us to just to hold on, right? To take care of each other, to love on each other, because that's all we have. You know, there were moments being on the mission that in one location, a couple of people, they went to see a particular physician, and all heck almost broke loose. One said, I've been here from 5 a.m. and I'm the next one. I don't care who came. We didn't, because I'm also the social media person for the group. And it so happened I was recording when this person came, so she wasn't there. And I get a chance to talk to them. But all I needed to do was listen. And collectively, a decision was made. Either we shut this down for the doctor, or you guys made a decision, like each and every one of you, who's going to go next and who's going to go in, or else we shut it down. And they were nice enough to say, oh, okay. And there's always one leader in the group. There's always one person who want to be disruptive. And sometimes too, people who are like that, they really want to be seen. And you need to get under, like, why is that so? But approaching them, you know, the more difficult the situation seemed, the more I come alive and love it. And just being able to talk with them and seeing that these women who were lined up, it was about 15. We were able to see additional 15 people. They were able to work it out. The decision was, do you want, we could shut it all down, or you make a decision on who are you guys, just by working together. And then they started, another nurse said, we're going to do a number system. And we did a number system. And the loudest one, if you're watching, was number 8. And they turned out to be fun. These ladies turned out to be fun. Sometimes we may think that we can't work together when we really can. When we collectively make a decision for change. Is that the surprising thing? We have to remember that collectively we can come together and we can make a change. My God. Yeah, I wanted to share that with you. Also want to say thank you so much. I'm just going to go in a few minutes. I want to say thank you for the support. Thank you for just showing up here. Thank you for rocking with me. I really, truly appreciate it. Those of you who give the thumbs up, those of you who show up mightily and say, Sharon, I'm going to give you a few minutes. I really appreciate it. It makes a huge, it makes a huge difference. So I wanted to just talk about that. Yeah, the abundance of it all, the gratitude, because when gratitude helps to make room for more, and knowing that collectively we can work together and make a difference in this world. Collectively, we can do it. We don't have to try to outdo each other. That's always my thing. It's like, I'm not your competition. No, I'm not anybody's competition. And it doesn't mean that you can't, it doesn't mean that, you can't feel the initiative. Sometimes too, a little competition, it's kind of, it has to get the blood pumping, right? Because if you're going to run a race, you're running to win. If you're running a race, you're running to win. So a little of that is good. And it's also that you're being, it's that you're being, the thing about it is that, like, oh, somebody can do something, and I'm just like, I am motivated. What they're doing, I am motivated by what they're doing, and it helps me to take game to the next level. But it's not about trying to outdo someone. There seem to be some little stuff, not little stuff, but things going on this platform, and we don't want to blame the platform where people, probably, I don't know the full story, so I can't speak fully on it. But either something happened and people were hurt or unalived because of what was going on. And we have to think of our safety. Think of safety for you and your family. And is it worth it? It is not worth any of that. Sometimes it's just best to walk away. And there are many times it's best not to say anything. These sometimes too, it's just that it's not worth it. It's not worth fighting with anyone. It's not worth saying mean words. It's not worth any of that. And so for me, I just want to be mindful of that we remember to show love in all that we do. Love is one thing. They always say there's nothing that you can do about it. Because I can stay right here, right here, right here. I can stay right at this space and still show love. I can still stay here and express love. So, yeah, I just wanted to say that, guys. The one thing that we have in life, that one thing that we have is to be able to show up for each other, to love on each other, and make this world a better place. I don't even have much more to say than that. I'll probably just roll it for a few more minutes. But thank you for being here on this page. Those of you, if you haven't done it already, I just want to say thank you for the thumbs up. Take a look at our community if there's something that you want. But just even being here and giving me a few minutes of your time makes an amazing difference, because that's what helped me to get to that point. See, people are going to have to realize that. I tell people, don't feel if you can't send a super chat and you can't join membership. What took us there was your time. See, guys, that's the thing. People don't have to feel bad about it. I tell folks, listen, you can be a member, you send a super chat, that's fine. But the thing is, if they can do it, you can. But if you can't, it's your minutes. That's how valuable. We have to look at people. I look at every person that will say, oh, I'm going to check out your playlist. My God. Or somebody said, when are you going to get a new video? Or they go looking for my old videos because they want to give me time. Money can, I could never pay them for the hours, right? I could never pay them for the hours that they've chosen to show for me. Like many of you, I mean, like everybody in this house knows some of your station. Everybody's watching something. And that says a lot. So we have to understand what's taking us to the next level. It's people who are showing up and saying, hey, I'm giving you my support. That's so valuable. So now when the other thing comes up and when our videos are going to be pushed out, I got 5 minutes to go. When the videos are going to be pushed out to people in different parts of the world who got us to a level, all I can say, thank you. All I can say is just thank you. I'm grateful for that foundation. I'm grateful for the people who showed up in ways for me. Sometimes to my heart, I'm just like, I get a little emotional about it. Because people, even on this YouTube journey, have given up. They've gotten either turned down for monetization, or something, yes, Nancy, that's how I feel. I get emotional about it. Every time I can see the people, I can go into my back end, and Nancy, you, and if I don't want to start calling names, but you guys are the people that it shows me by numbers the rank. I'm like, wow, this person's had spoken or commented that many times. I'm like, wow, I feel so honored. Like, and sometimes here, and you may not always see RN to CEO. You may see abundance conversation, you may see other things, because I'm trying to make sure that and YouTube has rules with certain things. So just know that you're being watched. Sometimes people say, oh, this is me, and I'm like, oh, wow, people care that much. So there's no way we can take it for granted, because it's the time, and it's not even so much the money. Yes, the membership and all the other stuff, I'm going to say yes, it's nice. Sometimes it's pleasant surprise, like, oh, I've been on YouTube for a minute, and I just like to go and randomly just bless people. They don't, when they least expect it. And I've been doing that since I've been here. Okay, yeah, that music was coming through. We don't want that. And YouTube they have rules. So yes, so this is a section to go 3 minutes, 2 minutes, right? That I talk about the membership. Yeah, I'm going to talk about it. And those who are choosing to be part of that, things that I'm sharing with the community, I really appreciate it. But I'm always going to share. So just showing up huge makes a huge difference. In a couple of months, there's some things that I'm going to really do so I can support more people, because I may not have them. This fall, I may get a little busy with some things, but I want to be able to pop in, and with some permission, I will share. I, share other people's. I like all the names. There's a reason why I call the names, because I know the algorithm. It hears it, guys. It does. And so it sends people when they listen to the replay. So it's not just members, but they're members, yeah, that I shout out, or things that I want to share. But in saying this, and 1 minute to go, and I'm not going to go over that. I want to thank you for showing up. I want to thank you for being here. I want to thank you for being supportive. For those who have said yes to the member, thank you. For those who have done the super chat, thank you. For those who continue to show up, I certainly appreciate you. I want to encourage you to keep going. I can't be on YouTube all the time. Like I said, in the fall, I will be a little bit, the hours and things will change. But whatever we're able to do to support each other, let's do it a little bit at a time, one day at a time. Every minute, every second, it adds up. And don't let, again, I'm going to say this, don't let what our beliefs or political or whatever drive a wedge between us, right? Don't let any of that drive a wedge between us. Continue to love on people. We respect each other for our differences. Some things I may not like, some things you may not like, but the world was before us. And when we leave here, guess what? It's going to be here. So I'm just going to live my life and appreciate it. I thank you guys who look out for me, and I continue to do the same for you. Until next time, everybody, now I can go hot, but I'm going to have some more tea for this throat. I'm staying hydrated. Thank you all, everybody. Until next time, see you. Take care. Come back to the replay. A quick thumbs up. All right? Take care now. Bye bye.